I'm Lee Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. I've got Mark Cloer with me. How you doing, mate?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good. Great t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah. There's only two in the world.
Yeah. So, man, we're back for classic album battle. You said to me this would be a great one to do. No, so we're not doing them from the same band like we've done with Sabbath. We're doing them Dokken versus Ratt. And in both our opinions, the best albums that they released. So we've got Dokken Under Lock and Key and Ratt Invasion Your Privacy. Mid-80s albums, massive part of me growing up, both of these albums, like huge, like all the way through the 80s, from when they appeared for years. These were regular on my turntable, as I had a turntable back then. So I mean, man, these, both of us, we agree, best albums they've come out with, these two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are individual songs I like by both bands that came out later that I rank nearly as high, but as a complete body of work, these two albums were their peak as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely 100% agree with you there. So we've got just a few details about each album. We've got Dokken's Under Lock and Key, third album, came out November 1985 on Elektra Records, hit number 32 in the US, gold. It reached gold in March 86 and platinum in April 87, 42 minutes and 25 seconds long. Let's just give a quick view about the production, mate. It was produced by Neil Kernon and Michael Wagner. Obviously, Michael Wagner and Neil Kernon were big names in the 80s producing. Great production on this Dokken album, the best as far as I'm concerned. What about you?
Yeah. I think for the time, this album had some of the best production that we had heard up to that point. All the instruments were crystal clear. The mix was great. By comparison, the earlier stuff, lacked that top-notch production value. This one was, it was very classy sounding.
Yeah.
Just like I said, some of the best of the time period.
And I mean, we've spoken about the album after Back for the Attack as well. I said to you, didn't know about apparently the alleged story that the proper mix of their master of Back for the Attack was lost. So they had to use almost the demos for Back for the Attack and try and get a decent sound out of them. And I remember being disappointed in that production after hearing Under Lock and Key and thinking, that doesn't sound as good. And there was a lot of music on that album. There was like 7 tracks, maybe each side. And that always affected the production on an actual record. So on a vinyl, if you like. So yeah, great production. And of course, the classic lineup of Don Dokken vocals, George Lynch on guitar, Jeff Pilson on the bass, Mick Brown on the drums, the classic Dokken lineup. And they were at their peak, weren't they? At that time.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And George Lynch, I mean, we're going to mention the Ratt guys in a minute, but George Lynch, guitarist, I mean, definitely not overrated. He's highly rated and well deserved as far as I'm concerned. Brilliant.
One of the best.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So we go to the Ratt album, Invasion of Your Privacy, second album, released June 85. So the same year, obviously. On Atlantic, number 7 in the US charts, double platinum, so more successful than Dokken. 36 minutes and 2 seconds long, so a good 6 minutes shorter, although they've both got 10 tracks. Produced by Beau Hill. Let's talk about the production on this. So that's an excellent production as well. And of course, Beau Hill took charge of a lot of the Ratt albums in the 80s.
Yeah, by comparison, I don't think the production on this album is as crisp as the Dokken album. It sounds a little bit muffled in spots, a little bit muddy, I guess, for lack of a better word. Still not bad, but in comparison, I think the Dokken album clearly had the better production.
I think the only thing I would say about the Ratt production, it was quite consistent, wasn't it? Probably from Out of the Cellar through to they did sound very similar. They didn't. It was very up and down with Dokken's albums, wasn't it? The way they sounded.
Yeah.
Like they sounded terrible, some of them, but some of them sounded great. Of course, the classic lineup of Stephen Pearcy on the vocals, Juan Crucia on the bass, Robin Crosby on the guitar, Warren DeMartini on the guitar, and Bobby Blotzer on the drums. Of course, the late Robin Crosby and the brilliant Warren DeMartini, both brilliant guitarists, but I would say underrated for sure. Wouldn't you? Guitarists.
Yeah, they never got the praise. I think Warren probably got more credit in the press than Robin did. I think Robin primarily played rhythm. He did play some lead, but I think Warren did the lion's share of the leads. And he's pretty highly regarded, but he's not a household name. Not that Lynch is either, but people in our circle obviously know who they both are. But Robin never really got his shining moment. I don't think he was always considered the rhythm player, I guess. But they were a great guitar duo.
Totally agree,
from that time period, they were one of the better.
For sure, mate. For sure. So 2 brilliant albums. What a brilliant head-to-head this is going to be. So what we do, we go track by track. We say a little bit about how we feel about each track. We score the track. Each of us, we're going to swap. So we're going to go Dokken first, and then we're going to go like the track 1, then Ratt track 1, Dokken track 2, blah blah blah. So we give a score. I'll add them up, and we see who wins the battle. So pretty cool. This is going to be close. This is really going to be close. So we don't know each other's scores. I've scored mine already, obviously. Mark scored his, but we don't know each other's. So, Mark, are you all right going to kick off on each track?
Yeah, that's fine. Before we get started, I wanted to crack a beer in Darren's honor.
When's you getting married?
Boy, Darren's got a big day coming up this week.
Yeah, he's this week. I thought it was this week. Yeah.
I can get this bottle of him. Anyway, I miss having him on our videos here lately, but he's got more important things going on right now. So
yes,
hopefully when all that settles down, he can get back in there with us. But Darren's just one of the coolest cats I've ever met.
Yeah.
Obviously I hadn't met him in person any more than I have you, but I mean, I really consider you two guys 2 of my closest friends, even though we've never met in person. Darren's just a sweetheart of a guy. He'd give you the shirt off his back, and great personality, just a great character. And this one's to you, Darren.
I haven't got my beer on me, man. I haven't got my beer on me, but listen, man, we love you. We love you loads. And obviously, good luck for the day. You don't need no luck. You're going to just ease through it. You know what Darren's like. Like you said, he'd be the coolest bloke in the room, wouldn't he? I reckon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's a lucky woman. She's a lucky woman, and obviously you're more lucky than she is. So no, we love you, man. But we have to do a head-to-head. We do a Dr. Hook versus ABBA or something like that.
Yeah, there you
go. I had to get a dig in somehow, didn't I? No, but congratulations, man. We all the best. So okay, cool. So right, so we got. You're right to kick off each track, mate. First, talk about it, and I might add something, I might not, because you seem to explain things a lot better than I do when it comes to tracks. So we got Dokken, of course. We go first, if that's all right with you, mate. Track 1, Unchain the Night.
Yeah, but before we get into the meat of it,
of course,
I have to say on the Sabbath when we did, I might have let my prejudice creep into my rankings. But honestly, when I gave all those songs 10s, it was an honest 10 because I really could not choose between those songs.
Yeah.
I made myself, while I was doing this one, look at things a little more critically. It's easy to look back and say these 2 albums were perfect 10s, but in all honesty, there are very few perfect 10s out there.
Right.
There's got to be one song you prefer above all the others, and one that you put at the bottom. So I tried to be a little more critical in my ranking, and I just wrote up a little guide, so to speak, for myself to go by. I'm gonna start number 5. To me, is an average song.
Yep.
Or the score 5 is an average song. I don't love it. I don't dislike it. 6 is above average. Good song. 7 is a good song. 8 is a very good song. 9 is a great song, and 10 is perfection. So that's the criteria I'm using for my rankings.
I like that. I do like that. I really
just
like
I had to do that to make myself think more critically about these songs, because, like I said, just off the top of my head, especially the Dokken album, if you had asked me, a year ago, I'd have said, oh, well, 8 of those songs are 10 out of 10. Well, they really can't be. Because there's got to be one that you prefer above all the others.
True.
Anyway, I'm babbling. Let's get on.
No, I like that. I do like that, and I'm always critical, and I try to be critical. And when I started this show, like in general, then on YouTube, if I look back at my videos now, and I was scoring albums, like doing the albums of the year, the amount I gave 10 to, mate, was just unbelievable. And like back then. But like as it's gone on, I thought, you know what, I need to just calm down on the 10s, because it just becomes.
Well, that's what I felt like when I watched back the Sabbath one. I was like, okay, I gave that one another 10, but it was heartfelt, because I truly love those songs, and these songs I truly love as well. The ones that I didn't give a 10, I still love them.
Yeah,
but there's got to be one at the top of the heap and one at the bottom. So
agreed, mate. Totally agreed.
Anyway, straight out of the gate, though, Unchained the Night is a 10. And this is no surprise, because when we did our Dokken top 10 or top 12 or whatever it was, this was my number 1 Dokken song of all time. It still is, and will always be my all-time favorite Dokken song. So it is a perfect 10. Nothing on this song I would improve on.
Well, man, I mean, I'm with you on a 10. Totally on a 10. It was my favorite Dokken song. We both agreed on that. You're right, and it's not just the perfect song; it's the perfect opener, isn't it? From the bell chiming till the first riff that kicks in, till the last scream, if you like, or whatever. It's just perfection. You're totally right. So, man, we agree on that. Unchained the Night, 10 out of 10. So we're going to move on to Ratt. The first track out of the gates is You're in Love.
Yeah, that's a great one to start the album. Probably my second favorite track on the album, and I'm giving that one a 9.5.
Wow.
I am gonna put some 0.5s on this one, whereas the last one I didn't put that many 0.5s on it. This one I'm definitely bringing in some 0.5s here.
When I first heard this, I'm not sure if I heard Invasion of Your Privacy from Ratt before I heard. It might have been the first album I heard. I'm trying to remember when I was a kid if I heard Out of the Cellar. I think I might have gone back and got Out of the Cellar, because obviously in England, it wasn't that for someone to like Ratt who's into metal. It wasn't that popular. Ratt weren't like the biggest band around. It was Maiden and Saxon and all those bands. I think I might have heard this first, and I thought it was really strange at first, because mainly probably because of Stephen Pearce's voice was completely like different.
Yeah.
And and when you first hear him like take the midnight subway train, that, I thought, what is going? He sounded a bit strange to me, but I loved it at the same time. Do you know what I mean? But I think with You're in Love, I love it a lot more now than I used to. A lot more now. I really like the song. I have all the time, but it's really over the years it's got better and better for me, and I'm giving it a 9. It's an amazing song. So you went 9.5, didn't you?
Yeah, just very slightly under the other one, but yeah.
Good
Ratt was pretty big here back in the day. Round and Round is what broke them. You could not turn on the radio or MTV back in the day without hearing Round and Round. Then when this album came out, You're in Love was one of the two songs that got a lot of radio play. I don't hear it anymore, whereas you do still hear Round and Round. But back in the day, this was a pretty popular song on the radio.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned off camera, it still amazes me that Dokken never, even in the States, they never became a household name, even in the genre of metal.
Yeah.
You could stop 5 people on the street even today, even people that aren't into metal, and mention Motley Crue or Poison, and they've at least heard of them.
Yeah.
If you mention Dokken, they'd be like, "What the hell's a Dokken?"
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it still amazes me that Dokken, as great as they were, and I think they were a better band than most of the bands that hit it big. They never really hit it big, as far as commercial success. Very seldom ever heard them on the radio, if you ever did. Anyway,
I think they stood out because they had a bit of class to them as well, didn't they? You know what I mean? Where a lot of bands were hitting on that party drink and booze and drugs and women, they were very like, the classy side of metal or heavy rock or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and Ratt, Piercy had that sleazy voice that fit that stuff perfectly. Don, back in the day, Don Dokken was my all-time favorite singer. And at his peak, he's still in my top 3.
Yeah.
He can't do it now, obviously, but from this time period, I think his voice he could have done any kind of music he wanted to do when his voice was, at its peak.
Agreed.
He just got that kind of sing the phone book kind of voice, crystal clear. Just you can understand every word he says, and just a phenomenal singer in his day. Unfortunately, his day's long gone, but
great. Very cool indeed, mate. Well, them 2 opening tracks are we both agree are brilliant. So we move on to Dokken, and The Hunter is track 2. What do you reckon on that one, mate?
It's the second song on the album, and it's probably my second favorite song on the album as well. I started to give it a full 10, but like I said, Unchained the Night is at the top of my list. This one's just one notch below it, so I gave it a 9.5. Love this song.
It's a cool song. I mean, this again, a bit like You're in Love. When I was younger, I loved the song. I loved the whole album, but it was one of the weaker songs for me. But another one, it's grown on me. And now, when the albums can still grow on you after that many years, that's when you know it's brilliant. So I love the song, but it is a couple of notches down from Unchained Light for me. I've given it an 8 because it's a really strong song. So okay, then we move on to the second track on Invasion Your Privacy and Never Use Love.
Yeah, love it, but not quite as much as a couple of the other ones. Went with an 8 on this one, which is still a good, good score. There are no songs on this album that I dislike, even the ones, that we get to later. I don't dislike any song on here. It was just such a solid album from start to finish. Consistent. It wasn't like there were 2 awesome tracks and then the rest of them sucked. It was just,
think about some of the riffing on, like that riff going through this right from the beginning. You don't hear stuff like that as much anymore, do you? Where you really hooked on the riff alone.
Yeah. That's a good point. They had some of the catchiest riffs. Not even talking about the vocals.
Yeah, you're right.
The choruses, the riffs instantly pulled you in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's an excellent song. I love the song as well, mate. I've given it the same score as you, a number 8. There you go. So not quite, but you've got to have a real strong opener anyway, haven't you? And then sometimes the second strong is the strongest one on the album, but not this time. But we go back to Dokken, the single The Hunter was a single as well, by the way, wasn't it? A bit of an unusual choice, I think, considering some of the songs on the album. But this one was, if you heard the album before, you would think, yeah, that's going to be a single, wouldn't you? For sure. In My Dreams.
Yeah, this is probably the most popular song they ever had. As far as I have heard this song on the radio, it's been years since I've heard it, but this is one of the few Dokken songs that ever got any radio play, at least around where I live. Very commercial, very catchy. Got some play on MTV. I don't want to say overplayed by any means, because there's nothing Dokken ever did that was overplayed. But like I said, if they had a signature song or one that people might have heard, this might be the one. If you played it, and even if they didn't know who it was, they might say, "Oh yeah, I remember that song. I just didn't know who it was." But yeah, another great song. I love it. I gave it a 8.5.
I mean, we spoke about riffs just then, and what about the riff on this when that a cappella chorus, the chorus comes in a cappella at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that, to me, living in England, being into Iron Maiden and Saxon and the new wave of British heavy metal stuff, if you like. When I first heard that, I was like, what is that? And just like singing like that in the ultra smooth, catchy, it was just amazing. Then that riff kicks in.
Yeah,
it's just mental. I love In My Dreams. It's always been one of my favorite of Dokken. I've given it a 9.
Okay, good.
So we move on to a really popular Ratt song now. Track 3, Lay It Down.
Yeah, this is my favorite on the album and might be my favorite Ratt song. It's a full 10. Like I said, You're in Love, I like almost as much, but Lay It Down, talk about riffs. That riff just punches you in the mouth.
Could that be, it's almost sums up, maybe it could be the best riff. I think it's got to be, if you actually said, right, pick out the top riffs of the 80s, surely that's got to be
it's got to be up there. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a brilliant riff, and the pace of the song. It's got a gallop as well, hasn't it? It's just an amazing song, man.
Yeah, one of the radio talk shows I listen to a lot uses that song as their bumper music.
No wonder.
Coming on, and as soon as I hear it, man, it's just, I just instantly takes me back to when I was 17 years old or whatever, 16, 17 years old.
Oh God, look, Vamp's here. Here he is. So yeah, you've scored that a 10, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I did as well. Total, it's the first thing I thought of. I just put a 10. It didn't even need to think about it. What an amazing song. So we go back, talking of 10s. We go, because we do have conversations in past programs and offline as well about certain songs. I'm looking forward to this one. So track 4 for you, Mark, Dokken, Slipping Away. What do you reckon of this one, mate?
Well, when I gave my definitions of my rankings, I started with a 5. I should have mentioned then anything below a 5 is just varying degrees of suckage. Slipping Away is the 4th song on the album, and I think that's appropriate because I give it a 4. I rank it just like I did the Black Sabbath song by the same name. My least favorite song on the album, the one that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's not the worst song they've ever done. I mean, Dokken's done some, pretty weak songs throughout their career. And it's not the worst song they ever did. But on this album, like I said, everything else on it just head and shoulders above it. They do a good ballad. This just isn't one of them.
Yeah, you're right. They've done some brilliant ballads, mate. Alone Again, Walk Away, like brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This doesn't seem to really go many places, does it? This one.
This is the only song on it that I instantly hit the skip button.
Yeah, and I'm a ballad lover.
Yeah, I am too. I love a good ballad. It's just like I said, this just isn't one of them.
Yeah, it's not that it's a slow song and it didn't get in with all the heaviness. It's just I totally with you. It doesn't really go anywhere. I've given it a bit more than you have, though. I've given it a 6.
Okay,
So you got a
pretty
4.
good score.
It's for me. Okay, so we go back to Ratt, and we got Give It All.
Give It All. Yeah, another great
Yeah.
another great riff. It's got some kind of cheesy lyrics in it. Where he talks about, then she showed me her thighs. Again, that kind of stuff just fits in perfectly with Stephen
Oh,
Pearcy's, kind of sleazy persona. And, good song. I do love it. I give it an 8.
Yeah, I love it, man. I really like this song. I mean, it's so everything on this album is so catchy, isn't it? I mean, the way that guitar follows his voice on that. I want to give you it's just catchy. It's just instant. I've given it an 8 as well, mate. So both scored that one an 8. Excellent song. Okay, well, we go back to Dokken. Going to get a rocker now. We've got Lightning Strikes Again.
Yeah, this is a very fast-paced song. I do like it. I just, again, if I've got to rank them, I gave it a 6.5. I don't skip it. It's not a song that I'll hit skip. I do enjoy listening to it. It's just not one that, I don't find myself saying, oh, I really want to hear Lightning Strikes Again, like I would Unchain the Night. It's a good song. I just, I gotta be honest with myself. Normally I would have said, oh yeah, that's an 8 when the rest of them are 10s, but I gotta be true to myself here.
Well, I love this one, and you know me. I mean, it is sort of fast, but it's not fast as in other songs we're going to talk about a bit later. But it is, sort of medium to fast-paced song, really riff heavy. I do love it. I love Don's vocals at the end when he's reaching for the lightning.
Oh yeah,
and strikes
again. He reaches into the stratosphere on some of those.
He does.
He couldn't do that. He couldn't do that now if you put a gun to his head.
Yeah, they have got. I don't know. Just get the backing tape. All of a sudden, he'd be able to sing next year on his tour. It'd be backing tapes all the way through. But
Jeff. Let Jeff sing it. Jeff could probably pull it off.
Yeah, he probably could. But no, I love this one. Always have done. I've scored it a 9. Big score. I've given Lightning Strikes Again. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love the song. So move on to sort of maybe one of Ratt's maybe the only ballad, if you could call it a ballad. It's sort of a bit in between. I'd call it a ballad, especially for Ratt anyway. It's Closer to My Heart. What do you reckon of this one, mate?
Yeah, subject wise, I think it's definitely a ballad. It's more of a, like I used to say, a ballad with Keith, maybe.
Yeah.
I gave this one a 7.
It's a good score. So yeah, I really like this one. I've always liked this, and I like the fact that they did like you said, a ballad with teeth, maybe. But it's like when you listen to, I always say that certain bands, depending on what band they are, because Ratt were more of a heavier band at the time. This was their ballad, where other bands might do this, and it might not be a ballad. It's just it suits them as a ballad, if you know what I mean. But I love it. It sort of gave me something different on the album as well, because it was very rocking up to this point, wasn't it? And then they got a sort of acoustic guitar in there, and it sort of made it a bit different. I actually gave this an 8.5. I love it. Love this song. Yeah. Okay, so we're going back to Dokken. Another single. The video. Remember the video, mate, on the back of the truck, riding through the sound. It's Not Love. What do you reckon of this one then?
Yeah, this was another pretty popular one. I may have heard this one on the radio back in the day. But it was definitely played on MTV a lot. I used to record Headbangers Ball every Saturday night and watch it on Sunday afternoons after church every Sunday. And I know this got a lot of play when it was when they were popular back in the day. But I like it's got that kind of gang vocal. Almost sound like something Accept would do. Anyway, I gave this one an 8.
Cool. the lyrically, this would almost be Stephen Pearcy singing this, shouldn't it? When he's on the phone to the
yeah.
But I like this one. I think George's guitar playing in this especially is just outstanding. It's because I think he's doing it between the riffs, and that you can really hear some amazing guitar work. The solo in this is amazing as well. I mean, it is all the way through. George Lynch's playing's amazing. This is his best as far as I'm concerned on this album. I love this one. I've always loved it. I've given it a high score as well. I've given it a 9. It's not love. Love the song. Okay, so then we go back to Ratt, Between the Eyes. What do you reckon of this one, mate?
I like this one a lot. I gave this one an 8 as well. I think those two songs are pretty evenly matched. I like the riff is good. The chorus kind of draws you in. It's just a very catchy song.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit slower paced, but really pulls you in there.
Bit chuggy, isn't it? It's a bit chuggy as well. This came on in my car earlier on, and I've got like a massive playlist of like favorite songs. It's huge, and it came on like a few hours ago in the car, and I was thinking, sort of, because I was doing this show, I was thinking, man, that is a great show. I love this song, man. Really catchy, like you said. I've given it an 8 as well.
Yeah.
It's okay. We go back to maybe some of the lesser known songs from Dokken, the Dokken album. So Jaded Heart.
Jaded Heart. I love this one. This one is almost a ballad. Head and shoulders above Slipping Away. I gave this one an 8.5. I really do like that one.
Yeah, man. It's a great track, and we're sort of hitting a real strong bit on the album for me, like this part of the album, where it might not be everyone's strongest part of the album. I'm not saying it is the strongest part, but it's still like, for an album, you know, at this stage, to get to track 7 and all that and have strong songs like this, it's quite rare. So I've given it an 8, mate. Great track. Okay, we move on to Ratt. What you give is what you get.
I like this one too. I didn't rank it quite as high. I gave this one a 7.5. I like it a little better than the good. You know, I gave 7 for good. I like it just a little bit more. So I gave it a 7.5.
Well, this is going to surprise you. This is one of my favorite Ratt songs. This one, I just love this song. I mean, it's got it's got everything I love, and it's got that pace is just perfect, and it's like that almost slow to medium pace song. There's something about it I've always loved it, and for me, a perfect song. I don't know why, so it's a 10 for me.
Okay, cool.
I just love this song, man. It goes up.
Kind of surprised me, but
yeah, it's a brilliant song. I love it. Okay, Dokken, Don't Lie to Me.
This one kind of middle of the road on this album. I gave this one a 7. I like it better than, definitely like it better than Slipping Away, and I like it a little bit better than Lightning Strikes Again, so I gave it a 7.
You know, I'm with you on this one, man. I think it's a strong track. It's not obviously as strong as some of the rest, but it's not weak in any way, shape, or form. I've given it a 7 as well.
I'll never hit skip on it. You know, I like it. I'll listen to it, but it's, you know, again, if you got to rank them, you got to be honest with yourself when you're ranking.
Totally agree, mate. So we're same on that one. Then we go on to track 8 of Invasion of Your Privacy, Got Me on the Line.
This one a little bit weaker as far as I'm concerned. I gave it a 6. Which is, for my ranking, it's above average. It's not a bad song, not a great song. Again, I don't hit skip when I hear it. It's just not one that I, when I'm sitting around, I really want to hear that song. So I gave that one a 6.
You are definitely scoring more, than you less than you was. But
Well,
that's
like I said, I didn't want to sound like a parrot, and just everything's an 8 and a 10. I just, if I'm, like I said, if I'm being honest and I'm ranking them in my order of preference, then I think these are honest numbers.
I mean, I do love this song. It's not as good as some of them on it, but I think it's really strong still for me. The album in general is, you can see by my scores, but I've got me on the line as an 8. So you had that as a 7, did you say, mate?
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting near the end, so we're going back to Dokken.
I also meant to mention I guess it's Steven, when the phone rings and he picks it up. Just a kind of cheesy way to hello. From somebody like Stephen Piercy, you'd kind of expect, what's up, baby? How's it going, girl? Just that sound like somebody's dad.
Yeah, you're right. He's a bit weird. That was another thing that I was a bit in the 80s growing up in England. When I heard that, I was like, what is going on here? But loved it at the same time. A bit camp, isn't it? It's a little bit camp.
Yeah,
that, but no, very cool indeed. So I'm not sure. I think we've spoken about this song, both of us, Seth, in the past, but I'm not 100% sure. But track 9, Dokken, Will the Sun Rise?
Yeah, that's another one that kind of borders on ballad. This and Jaded Heart are kind of similar as far as the pace. Love this song. I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah, man. I really do like this song. I think it's an underrated, it's probably underrated or a deep cut, as you would like to say, but
yeah.
A really strong one, really strong. I love the pace of the song again. It's a really strong for me. I'm giving it a 9.
Okay.
So real from both of us. We love that one. Okay, so we go on to, this is a fun song, this one. This is Ratt, You Should Know By Now.
Yeah, it's another one that, I like it, don't love it. I gave this one a 7.
It's got a real fun party vibe to it, this one. Probably the funnest song.
It does. Yeah.
Probably the most fun sounding song on the album for sure. Bit of rock and roll, maybe you would say it's rock and roll, heavy rock and roll. I've given it an 8.5. I smile every time I hear this song. So I'm gonna have to lower my scores next time, I think, mate. But it doesn't matter because it don't matter. But I do. These were massive though. Both of these albums in my childhood.
Oh yeah, me too.
Huge albums.
From that time period, these are two of the ones that got played a lot in my car.
Yeah, more than I play albums that come out now. It's just constant. Sure. Didn't have as much money back then. It was like the only thing you could only afford one album a year. So that was the album. So we go on to the last track of the Dokken album, Till the Living End.
Yeah, this one, I definitely like it better than Slipping Away. But it's the second to my least favorite. I gave this one a 5. Again, very fast-paced song. Almost, I don't want to say thrashy, but very pedal to the metal kind of song. Just doesn't have I guess it doesn't have the melody that I expect, from Dokken, because they were just so melodic on most everything they did. And maybe that was the intent, was to show their harder side and get away a little bit from the melody. And it's not a bad song, like I said. I don't dislike it, and I don't skip it when it comes on. I listen to it. I don't breeze by it. But I gave this one a 5.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, man. I mean, I just think that, especially Don Dokken's voice, he didn't seem to suit this song for me. He is in that more melodic side. It's almost like there was a few bands that did this sort of stuff, like put a real look at TNT with Tell No Tales on the end of their.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
So that it's very melodic all the way through, and then they hit you with something a bit thrashy, even like you said, it is a bit thrashy, and TNT did exactly the same. And that was one of my least favorite songs, Tell No Tales, as well. It's almost it didn't suit the band, you know, on that album. But
Right.
great guitar playing. Obviously, it's just a mental guitar playing all the way through it. That you can't. It's a 10 out of 10 for the guitar playing, but you've got to give it on the song here. So I've given it a 6.5 on that one.
Okay.
One of the second weakest track, like you, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And then
we've kind of flip flopped on this one. You're giving a little bit higher scores, and I'm getting lower scores. But I guess we'll meet in the middle somewhere here.
Yeah, but I think it's because of how highly I think of both of these albums. You know,
Yeah, and like I said, I tried to keep the sentimental value,
yes,
you know, to the side when I ranked them as an individual song. I absolutely love both these albums. I still listen to them very regularly, even today.
perhaps
yeah,
my
they sound
my
a little
sentiment,
dated, but
they do a little bit, but perhaps my sentimental side's crept in on this one. Perhaps my nostalgic side's crept in on me, maybe. But right, okay. So last track, mate, we're going to talk about last track on the Ratt album, Dangerous but Worth the Risk.
yeah, I'll put this one in the same category as I just did Till the Living End. Don't love it, don't hate it. Kind of middle of the road. I also gave this one a 5. So both those last songs I wrote ranked the same. That'd be my least favorite on the album. I don't, again, I don't dislike it, but gotta rank them.
I really like this one again, obviously. I think they were finishing quite strong on their albums for me. Like I thought them deep cuts, which are deep cuts. I think Scene of the Crime was that on the end of Invasion Your Privacy? No, Out of the Cellar.
Out of the Cellar. I don't remember. I don't
think
listen to that album too much anymore.
Yeah, that a bit overplayed, I think, Out of the Cellar for me, especially. But I think Scene of the Crime, I think that was on it. And I thought that was a strong song for me as well. And I think Dangerous but Worth the Risk is it's got a sort of real, I don't know, a dangerous feel, I suppose, to it. You know, it's quite a cool sounding song. You know what I mean? It's very cool indeed. So I've actually given that an 8. So that's it, mate. We're totally scored up. So I'm going to add the scores up now, offline, and I'll give you guys the result in a minute. Who wins? Dokken, Under Lock and Key, or Ratt, Invasion Your Privacy? See you in a sec. Okay then, everyone, the scores are done. So I worked it out. So me and Mark's scores basically added them together out of 100 divided by 2. So Dokken came out at 78.5 out of 100. Good score. But Ratt won at 81.5, mate. So we both voted Ratt the strongest album. So you voted it at 75.5 for Dokken and 77, really close, for Ratt. Where I went 81.5 for Dokken and 86 for Ratt. So there you go. Ratt wins the album.
It kind of surprises me because just, if you just ask me which album I prefer overall, I would say the Dokken album. Because, like I said, 8 out of these songs 2 weeks ago, I would have said, "Oh yeah, those are all 10s."
But do you know the really strange thing is, when you individually break the tracks down, even though you might individually like the tracks better, you might prefer the concept of the whole thing, like another album, more. Yeah. Because it's just the nostalgia feel of it, how fresh it sounds to you. Yeah. Because I gave Heaven and Hell, when we spoke about Black Sabbath, I gave the Heaven and Hell a big like score, but I'd much rather listen to a lot of Black Sabbath songs other than that. It's because I've heard it so much, so I'm scoring it higher because I know what a good track it is. But do I really want to listen to Heaven and Hell? I'd rather listen to Falling Off the Edge of the World a lot more, So I think sometimes, you would rather put that album on because it's fresher. But if you actually break the tracks down and look at it, is that a brilliant track? So you can. It's strange, isn't it? The collection of songs could be. You could actually prefer the album. So it does win the battle, but you still might think to yourself now, I'd rather play the Dokken album.
Yeah.
it's a weird one, but if you
The numbers don't lie though. So.
This is true. Before we go though, we need to talk about it would be fun, but maybe we'll do this in the future, but we'll do it for this one. Let's do the album cover battle.
Yeah.
So the artwork battle. I don't think there's much of a battle here. So let's talk about Dokken first. What do you reckon on that?
Yeah, that's a cool cover. I had that poster on my wall when I was a teenager, and I got to be honest with you, maybe I'm just slow and not that observant, but it took me, I didn't really pay much attention to it until, I don't know, within the last 10 years. I never paid much attention to that. I always thought that was just a doorway that they walked through. It didn't register to me that that's the outline of their logo that forms the shank of a key, which fits in perfectly with the title. So it's a brilliant cover. I just, it took me, obviously I didn't stare at this cover as much as I did this one for obvious reasons. If I'd have had this poster on my wall, I'd have never left my room.
Oh, mate. We did speak about the best album covers, and the Ratt one came into it, and I think I was the one who brought it up, but we all agreed that it was. I mean that's clearly one of the hottest chicks to ever grace an album cover. Yeah, I agree.
But I do like this cover as well. I think it's a cool cover with the fire effect and everything, and definitely got to give the edge to the Ratt one there.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I mean that cover, the Dokken one now, if a band did that cover now, it would be laughed at a little bit. But we're talking 1985 here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the hair and all that, obviously, but no, it's an absolutely fantastic album cover. Both of them are fantastic, but I agree. Ratt wins that one, mate.
There's one more thing I forgot to mention. I don't know why I forgot. I meant to mention it when we were talking about the song, but you know how you mishear lyrics or you misunderstand lyrics? The song "Never Use Love." When this album first came out, I played it relentlessly in my car. It was a cassette, of course. And I'll never forget one night, me and one of my school chums were cruising the mall or whatever, partaking in underage drinking, and I had this song blasted, and he's singing along with it, and he's singing "Whenever You Suck." And I looked over at him. I said, "What?" He said, "I like this song." I was like, "What did you say?" He said, "Whenever you suck." To this day, I can't hear this song without thinking, "Whenever you suck."
The thing is, it's funny.
I looked at him, I said, "You dumbass, it's called Never Use Love." And he just looked at me and said, "Oh."
You know what? It's funny. If someone says what a lyric is to you, and they say it when you hear it, you can do any sort of lyric. It can sound like anything. It's strange, but that's funny, man. That is funny.
But I can never hear this song. I find myself singing "Whenever You Suck."
He's ruined it for you. He's ruined it.
And that would fit in perfectly with Stephen Pearcy's.
Oh, mate, for sure. For sure, mate.
Double entendres or whatever you want to call it. So.
I'm sort of glad this show sort of done what it was meant to do. You've broken the tracks down and you've realised that you like the Ratt album better. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, Mark?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a surprise because, if you just asked me which one of these, I listened to this one more, I think, overall. But I mean, they're clearly very close. Both of these would
Ratt
be
album,
on my Desert Island albums,
That Ratt album, I think that was my number one album for that year. I think for 1985. I just, that's how strong it is for me. It's just, I remember buying it. I bought it in London in Virgin Megastore, I think.
Okay.
And that was it. I was just hooked, absolutely hooked on that. I don't think they ever really did anything as good after.
No. And I saw him on that tour. That was the first time I saw him. Bon Jovi opened for him before Bon Jovi was really even too well known. Yeah, that was a great show. Unfortunately, I never got to see Dokken back in the day. I saw him twice in later years, but in their heyday, Ratt was the first that was the first metal show I ever went to. Just stands out as one of my favorite concert memories for sure. They were just at the top of their game then.
Brilliant, mate. Well, thanks, mate, for joining me. And anyone who's watching this video, obviously put down what your favorite is, or even better, work it out what your favorite is, because you might not actually know.
Yeah.
So break it down, or just put what one's your favorite, you know. But it's a brilliant matchup that you had there, Mark, because as soon as you said it, I thought, wow, they go together as well. Like, you know, a lot of people who like Dokken would have liked Ratt, you know, so it's a perfect choice. Really two strong, massive albums. So thanks, mate, for joining me once again. And obviously we're doing another battle very soon. Thanks for watching at home, and I'll see you later.
Cheers.